ready? Let's make a white bean and kale soup.
I'm starting this recipe off by peeling my carrots and my potatoes. And if you've watched one of my videos before, you would know why I have this plastic wrap on my board. This makes for an easy cleanup after I peel, so I just fold it up and toss it in the garbage when I'm done. I would definitely consider this recipe to be a labor of love. There is a lot of chopping and peeling involved, but when you're finished and the end product comes out, you are going to be satisfied and it's all going to be worth it. For my red potatoes, I'm going to cut these into large chunks. We don't need them to be small because I'm going to be taking them out of the broth once they're fully cooked to blend up and make into a puree. So I'm just cutting them and putting them into some cold water so they don't turn brown while we chop up the rest of our vegetables. Around this time every year, I always get a craving for soup, and it lasts, I would say, for a few weeks where I literally just want soups every single day, and I can have it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I like to make a bunch of soups at once so that there is variety, and once I am kind of over the soup phase, I just freeze them and leave them for another day. So I have some celery here that I'm just cutting up into little half moons, I guess you could say. I'm gonna put these off to the side. I'm going to cut my carrots into medallions too, so I just cut them in half to give it the half shape and chop that way. Your carrots don't have to be extremely small because we do want to have some bite into our soup. So you could just cut it to whatever thickness you are most comfortable with. We reached the final stages of our chopping process, I promise. So I'm just going in and chopping up some yellow onion and also a few garlic cloves. And that's it for the chopping. Now that all the vegetables for our soup is cut up, let's move on over to the stove. To a preheated pot, I'm drizzling in some olive oil. Then I'm gonna add in my chopped onions. Gonna let this cook down for a few minutes until translucent. Now I'm gonna add in my carrots and celery. We're gonna saute this for a few minutes as well, but it does not have to be super soft because it will soften as the cooking process continues for the duration of the soup. Now to the pot, I'm gonna add in my red potatoes and also some Better Than Bouillon no chicken broth. So I absolutely love this broth. This is what it looks like. It is so flavorful and I just love using it as a base for soups. And I do actually have this on my online store for my favorite Amazon finds, and that is in the description below. There's a link to it. So if you do want it, you can click that link and get it there. And as an Amazon associate, I do earn from qualifying purchases. So now we're going to stir this all together and let this mixture come to a boil and wait for our potatoes to fully cook through. My potatoes are all soft now, so I'm going to gently remove them from my broth and put them into a blender. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of the liquid as well in the blender, and we're going to blend this up until it is nice and silky smooth. We're going to pour this potatoes back into our pot, which is going to give our soup that creamy consistency. And I'm also going to add in some more broth. From here, I'm going to add in my chopped garlic. I didn't put it in the beginning of the cooking process because I wanted to preserve some of the health benefits of the garlic, and cooking it for too long would kind of cook out those benefits. So we're gonna stir that in. And then we're also going to add in our seasoning, which is some onion, garlic, nutritional yeast, white pepper, salt, and some oregano.
Now I'm gonna add in some Great Northern beans to my broth, and we're going to let this cook down for a few minutes until it has slightly softened.
Then I'm gonna add in my freshly chopped kale leaves. And we're going to cover this up and let this cook down and simmer until everything is heated through. After about 15 minutes of simmering, your soup is going to be nice and thick. Your kale will be wilted and your white beans should be softened. So now we're just gonna remove this off the heat and get to plating. I have my bowl here ready and waiting, so we're just going to get a ladle, stir it up, and pour it directly into our bowl. This is probably the most satisfying bowl of soup you will ever have. And I highly recommend pairing it with your favorite kind of bread. And here you have it, my white bean and kale soup. I hope you enjoyed making this recipe with me today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, healthy does not mean boring. See you next time.